I returned home to find my children watching a clip of me and my supervisor. Then my crying daughter handed me the documents. I came home to my kids watching a video of me and my boss. Then my tearful daughter handed me the papers. If only I could go back in time, I would have done things differently. I messed up big time. I destroyed my beautiful family with my own hands, all because of greed and lust. I never imagined my life could turn sour in an instant. My husband David, 40, and I, 35, have been married for 15 years, blessed with twin daughters. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but it was the best. I honestly don't know what came over me and made me destroy everything. It all started 5 months ago when I got transferred to my present workplace. My boss took a keen interest in me, flirting at every opportunity, buying me lunch, and giving me random gifts. Initially, I thought he was just being generous, but soon the gifts became more personal. Perfumes, jewelry, and even lingerie. I should have confronted him, but I was too scared. Instead, I let myself enjoy the attention. My boss was handsome, rich, and charming, everything a woman might dream of. He spoiled me with expensive gifts, things I never imagined owning. A part of me wanted him to ask me out, but when I remembered my loving husband and children, I would compose myself. David had sacrificed so much for me financially, emotionally, and physically. He even turned down a high-paying job offer in another city to support me while I was in school. Then came the turning point. My boss handed me an envelope. Inside was a ticket to Hawaii for a business conference. I was thrilled, as I had never traveled outside of Los Angeles. When I told David, he questioned my role in the conference. He was right. An accountant had no business at an executive meeting. Sensing his suspicions, I became defensive, accusing him of jealousy and trying to hold me back. He eventually let me go, tired of arguing. At the airport, my boss was already waiting, dressed impeccably. The moment we landed in Hawaii, I realized he had only booked one hotel room. He claimed all other rooms were occupied. I should have declined, but greed clouded my judgment. That night, one thing led to another, and I betrayed my husband. What was meant to be a single moment of weakness turned into a continuous affair. I convinced myself that rejecting my boss would mean losing my job, leaving my family in financial ruin. Over time, I embraced my new reality. Upon returning home, my children were excited to see me, but David was distant. He had sensed a shift. He started paying close attention to my actions, making me anxious at home. Meanwhile, my romance with my boss continued at the office. Soon, colleagues began to gossip, but I was too blinded by my emotions to care. My female coworkers envied me, though I knew they also judged me. One day, David called and asked to meet at our favorite restaurant after work. I was frustrated. My boss had promised to take me to a 5-star restaurant that evening. Reluctantly, I went to meet my husband. Sitting in that modest restaurant, I felt disgusted. I had become so accustomed to luxury that eating at a simple place felt beneath me. I couldn't believe I was missing an extravagant dinner for this. David looked at me with a mix of sadness and determination. He pulled out his phone, placed it on the table, and played the video of me and my boss. I froze. My world shattered in that instant. My children had seen it too. My daughter, with tears streaming down her face, handed me divorce papers. I had lost everything: my marriage, my children's respect, and my dignity. If I could turn back time, I would have made different choices, but now all I am left with is regret. I had planned to see David briefly before dashing off to meet my boss at a restaurant. I told David I couldn't eat anything because I needed to return to work, so I asked him to keep whatever he had to say short. He begged me to sit down and order something, even if it was just a drink. Not wanting to embarrass him or make him feel bad, I reluctantly agreed. Deep down, though, I was furious. David had ruined my chance to dine at another exquisite restaurant. During dinner, David opened up about why he had brought me out. He wanted us to discuss ways to reignite the spark in our marriage. He admitted he felt we were drifting apart and reminded me of everything we had been through together, the storms we had weathered and the sacrifices he had made for me. His words hit me hard. I realized how much he had done for me and how I had taken him for granted. Overwhelmed with guilt, I broke down in tears. In that moment, I decided to end the extramarital affair I was having with my boss. However, I was terrified of how David would react if he found out about the affair. I knew he was a good man, but I doubted he could forgive me for cheating, especially after discovering that the money I had been spending came from my boss. Men can be unpredictable when their ego is bruised. I was torn. Should I confess everything to David and quit my job? Or should I quietly quit my job and pretend nothing happened? I was in a state of chaos and desperately needed advice. After weighing the pros and cons, I made a decision. I chose to continue working and maintain the affair with my boss. I convinced myself it was for the sake of my family, as David's income alone couldn't sustain us. He had taken out loans for my tuition, and quitting my job would have left us in financial ruin. I told myself I was sacrificing my dignity for the betterment of my family. For a while, everything seemed to be going smoothly. My boss and I continued our office romance, ignoring the whispers and judgment from colleagues. But one day, my world came crashing down. I arrived home to find my teenagers watching an explicit video of me and my boss. I was paralyzed with shock. Before I could process what was happening, my daughter handed me divorce papers. David walked in shortly after and demanded I leave. He revealed he had known about the affair for some time and had even gathered evidence. He had given me chances to come clean, but I had continued lying. I fell to my knees, begging for forgiveness, but David was unmoved. He threw my belongings out of the house, and to my horror, my children joined him. They called me the worst mother and said they were ashamed of me. I tried to explain that I had done everything for them, but David slapped me twice, silencing me. Humiliated and heartbroken, I gathered a few of my things and left. I stayed in a hotel that night, but I couldn't sleep. The image of my daughter crying haunted me. I felt immense guilt for the pain I had caused my family. The next day, I went to my parents' house and confessed everything. They were furious and disappointed, but after much pleading, they agreed to accompany me to David's house to beg for forgiveness. Unfortunately, David refused to listen. He wouldn't even let us inside. Realizing there was no hope of reconciliation, I signed the divorce papers. The divorce proceedings were painful, and we agreed on joint custody of the children, though they made it clear they wanted nothing to do with me. The reality of my new life hit hard. I was broke, as hiring divorce lawyers had drained my savings. I decided to return to work, but things had changed drastically at the office. My boss had moved on to another woman, and I was treated with disdain by my colleagues. When I confronted him, he coldly dismissed me. I later learned that his new partner had been the one to record and send the video to David, seeking revenge for being replaced on a business trip. I felt used and discarded. My boss blocked my calls and cut off all contact. I spiraled into depression, regretting every decision I had made. I tried reaching out to my children, but they blocked me as well. Lonely and desperate, I found a job as a cashier at my best friend's fashion store. It wasn't much, but it kept me busy and helped me cope with my new reality. Over time, I learned that my boss had lost everything when his wife discovered his infidelity. He had been living off her wealth, and she left him penniless after their divorce. While I felt a sense of justice, it didn't ease my pain. David, on the other hand, had moved on. He paid off my tuition loans and secured a better job in New York, relocating with the kids. I cried when I heard the news. David had always believed things would get better, and now he was living that dream without me. I realized too late that I had lost a good man because of my greed and lust. My boss had deceived me, and I had thrown away my family for a fleeting illusion. I decided to focus on rebuilding my life. I'm saving money to further my education and gain certifications, hoping to secure a better job someday. I hold on to the hope that one day David and the kids might forgive me and we could be a family again. Until then, I'm taking life one step at a time, determined to rewrite my story and become someone my children can be proud of.